We're counting down the top 10 Rambo ripoffs that are actually worth watching. From Italian jungle rampages and lost cult legends to synth-soaked urban revenge and sci-fi one-man armies, these films prove you don't need Hollywood money to deliver unforgettable action. Some elevated low budgets into pure spectacle, while others added outrageous new twists. Which movie took Rambo imitation to the next level? Let's find out, starting with number 10. Strike Commando kicks off the countdown with a bang, literally. Italian director Bruno Mattei takes the Rambo formula and dials it up past 11, dropping mercenary hero Reb Brown into a jungle war zone where the only thing louder than the explosions is his non-stop battle yelling. Shot in the Philippines on a budget well under $500,000, the film makes every dollar count with relentless practical effects and a barrage of fiery mayhem. The soundtrack shamelessly borrows from James Horner's Rambo themes, while fans immortalize Brown's roar and viral yells supercuts. It's pure macaroni combat excess, and somehow it just works. Steel Justice swaps the jungle for neon-lit alleys, with Martin Kove playing a Vietnam vet haunted by the past and hunted by the present. Instead of camouflage and mud, he's up against crime bosses and crooked officials, bringing the one-man army act to the city streets. The soundtrack hits with relentless 1980s synth, a perfect match for the film's gritty, low-budget style. Alleyway brawls and warehouse showdowns fuel the action, while Kove's intensity gives every punch a sense of wounded pride. Steel Justice stands out for turning Rambo's war into a personal urban vendetta, all pulsing to that unmistakable exploitation beat. Thunder Warrior brings Italian exploitation to the Arizona desert, swapping the jungle for wide-open mesas and a new kind of hero. 18-year-old Mark Gregory plays Thunder, a Navajo returning home to find a construction company bulldozing his people's burial ground. The film kicks off with a near shot-for-shot echo of Rambo's iconic opening, but then veers into wild territory. Thunder wields bows, bazookas, and even hijacks heavy machinery to fight back. Bo Svensson hams it up as the corrupt sheriff, while the English dubbing adds a layer of unintentional comedy that's become legendary among cult fans. Despite its rough edges, Thunder Warrior stands out for its earnest attempt at native pride, filtered through pure Italian B-movie bravado. Deadly Prey takes the Rambo formula into the wilds of Riverside, California, and cranks up the insanity. Ted Pryor, a bodybuilder with more muscle than acting experience, spends most of the film in cut-off shorts, outwitting mercenaries who made the mistake of kidnapping an ex-Marine for their human hunting camp. Shot on a family friend's ranch with a budget that barely covered squibs and fake limbs, the film's most infamous moment arrives when Pryor beats the villain to death using the villain's own severed arm, a scene that's become a viral gif and a badge of cult honor. The effects are so bare bones you can spot the mistakes, but that raw homemade energy is exactly what turned Deadly Prey into a VHS rental legend. So beloved, it inspired a sequel with the original cast 26 years later. Invasion. USA takes the Rambo formula and blows it up to national proportions, courtesy of Cannon Films' $12 million war chest. Chuck Norris, who co-wrote the screenplay, faces off against Richard Lynch's unhinged Soviet villain as America becomes the battlefield. The film opens with a massacre of Cuban refugees, setting a tone of relentless Reagan-era violence that never lets up. Real military helicopters, tanks, and block-long pyrotechnics fill the screen, giving the action a scale rarely seen outside big studio productions. MGM/UA's VHS release turned Invasion USA into their top-selling video cassette after Gone with the Wind, flooding homes from Florida to Romania. Bootleg copies circulated behind the Iron Curtain, where secret screenings inspired a generation to imagine fighting back. It's a patriotic bloodbath, both a product of its time and a cult hit that reached far beyond American borders. Arnold Schwarzenegger's John Matrix storms into the countdown with Commando, a film that turned the one-man army concept into pure blockbuster spectacle. With a $9 million budget and Mark L. Lester at the helm, Commando didn't just mimic Rambo, it polished the formula with Hollywood shine and a relentless sense of fun. The legendary Army surplus montage sees Matrix arm up for war, grabbing everything from rocket launchers to grenades in a shopping spree for the ages. What follows is a non-stop assault, capped by Schwarzenegger mowing down over 100 foes on a villain's island fortress. James Horner's pulse-pounding score sets the pace, but it's the comic one-liners, especially "Let Off Some Steam, Bennett," that make the film endlessly quotable. Commando grossed $57.5 million worldwide, proving that with the right star and attitude, even the wildest action template could conquer the mainstream. Rambo stands as the holy grail of Rambo knockoff legends, a film that may never have existed, yet refuses to fade from the conversation. The story goes that a Kuwaiti bodybuilder named Youssef Rambo survived 34 weeks of torture and returned as a superhuman weapon, out-toughing even Stallone's original. But after decades of searching, not a single print, poster, or production credit has surfaced in any Kuwaiti archive or film catalog. Every lead circles back to internet rumors, meme culture, and a handful of unverifiable anecdotes. Even seasoned collectors and regional film historians come up empty. Whether Rambo was ever more than a whispered joke or a fever dream, its myth proves just how far Rambo's shadow stretched. So powerful that even a rumor can earn cult status among action fans worldwide. Missing in Action didn't just ride the Rambo wave. It surfed ahead of it with Cannon Films' signature gamble. Chuck Norris takes the lead as Colonel James Braddock, a Vietnam POW, who refuses to leave his men behind. The story is pure rescue fantasy, but with a twist. Braddock's fists and feet do as much damage as his M16. Cannon filmed both Missing in Action and its prequel back-to-back, but after test screenings, executives swapped the release order, betting that Braddock's explosive return to Vietnam would outshine his origin story. It worked. Missing in Action hit theaters months before Rambo First Blood Part 2, turning Norris into an action icon and locking in a six-picture deal with Cannon. The film's martial arts tilt set it apart from gun-heavy imitators, and its VHS success helped define the Cannon brand. For sheer industry impact, Missing in Action stands as the ripoff that launched a franchise and a star. Thunder Warrior 2 doesn't just double down. It launches the Thunder saga into pure sequel overdrive. This time, Mark Gregory's stoic Navajo hero is somehow a badge-carrying cop, working for the very sheriff who once hunted him. Logic takes a backseat, but the action gets a serious upgrade. The budget jumps, and it shows. Real helicopters buzz the Arizona sky, staging chase scenes with rapid costume changes to fake an entire fleet. Explosions erupt bigger and brighter, with pyrotechnics that outshine anything in the first film. The practical stunt work stays true to Italian exploitation roots. Every car flip and fireball built from scratch, every chase staged with local machinery and a prayer. Dubbing remains gloriously off-kilter, translating Italian dialogue into English with the same wild energy as the action. Even with all the absurdity, Thunder is a lawman, the villainous sheriff turned awkward ally. The movie's commitment to spectacle is undeniable. Thunder Warrior 2 proves that with enough resourcefulness and pure nerve, even the quirkiest Rambo ripoff can become a franchise, growing wilder and more ambitious with every sequel. The countdown ends with a film that didn't just copy Rambo. It rewrote the rules of what action cinema could be. The Last Starfighter, released in 1984, swaps the jungle for the stars and turns a trailer park teenager into the galaxy's last hope. Lance Guest plays Alex Rogan, a kid whose skill at arcade games catches the eye of an alien recruiter, played by Robert Preston in his final film role. Suddenly, the one-man army formula blasts off into outer space. What sets The Last Starfighter apart isn't just its heartfelt story or underdog hero, it's the technology behind the spectacle. Instead of plastic models and matte paintings, the film delivers 27 minutes of computer-generated effects, all built from scratch by Digital Productions on a Cray XMP supercomputer. Each frame took up to 3 hours to render, a process so new that nearly a third of the budget went to digital effects alone. At a time when CGI barely existed, The Last Starfighter imagined entire star battles and alien armadas through pure processing power. Critics and fans alike have come to see it as a blueprint for modern sci-fi, predicting everything from esports recruitment to the rise of digital filmmaking. But at its core, it's still about a lone misfit facing impossible odds, a reminder that the spirit of Rambo can thrive anywhere, even among the stars. Passion, not budget, is what makes a classic. From the explosive chaos of Strike Commando to the digital leap of The Last Starfighter, this countdown proves that Rambo's legacy reached far beyond Hollywood. Across all 10 entries, one pattern stands out. These films took the lone warrior formula and ran wild, whether by cranking up practical stunts, pushing VHS cult status, or, in the case of Thunder Warrior, adding a cultural twist with Italian flair and infamous dubbing. The most shocking moments, like Deadly Prey's severed arm finale, or the enduring legend of Rambo, show just how far filmmakers went to capture the spirit of one-man army heroism. What qualified each movie wasn't budget or polish, but sheer commitment to action excess and inventive spectacle. These rip-offs remind us that passion, rather than money, fuels lasting cult appeal. In the end, the global wave of Rambo-inspired cinema didn't just imitate. It reimagined and expanded what action movies could be. The result? A genre where boundaries blur and underdogs become legends.